In the mid-1990s, a man who said he worked for Navy intelligence sat across a desk from a television producer and asked him a strange question. Why was there nothing underwater in his UFO show? The producer pushed back. If you're the Navy, he asked, why do you even care about things in the sky? The answer was that plenty of them are seen in the water, and that the show was going to need to start going there. Nearly 30 years later, an anonymous post would claim UAP crafts are built inside a structure in the Atlantic. The producer isn't anonymous, and he has a reputation he could lose by talking. Recently, he talked. This is a follow-up to the leak I covered a while back, an anonymous whistleblower that claimed, amongst other things, that the craft come from under the ocean. It was a 4chan post, so the easiest move in the world was to wave it off. Anonymous and unverifiable. The kind of thing you eye-roll at and just keep scrolling. But a named, credentialed Hollywood insider just described the same detail from his own life, with no reference to that post, and no reason to know it exists. So let's put the two side by side, and you can decide what it's worth. His name is Bryce Zabel. He was a CNN correspondent before he moved into television, where he created several primetime series. In 1996, he made an NBC show called Dark Skies, about a secret government cover-up of UFOs. And today he co-hosts a UFO podcast with the historian Richard Dolan. The reason that matters is simple. He's the opposite of an anonymous account. There's a real person attached to every word. Here's the part of his story that sets everything else up. While he was making Dark Skies, he says the cover-up came to him. Men who claimed to be Navy intelligence approached him and his writing partner with an offer. They would quietly feed him real information to write into the show, what he calls slow drip disclosure.
And they basically are saying, look, we'd like to, we're all about trying to encourage slow drip disclosure, and we would like to, strike some kind of arrangement, some kind of deal with you guys. Okay, what do you mean? Well, we would help give you some information that might be useful to you, and you would try to accommodate that into some of your future scripts.
So the truth would reach people wrapped inside fiction. One of them identified himself with the Office of Naval Intelligence. When Zabel asked him to prove it, the line back was that this isn't how it works.
You say you're from ONI, prove it or whatever. He goes, that's not the way it works. That was a favorite line of his because he said, if we're going to make a deal, then that information will be available to you. And he said, and by the way, we've already done a preliminary investigation on you guys. If we make a deal, we'll do a more detailed one. I mean, how weird is that? So a guy is going to investigate. They've already done a preliminary investigation on me, but I don't get to know who they are.
It sounds like a threat a little bit.
It's very threatening, like that postcard.
They called themselves the Aquarium, a nod to the Navy. And during production, a postcard arrived at his home, typed, one word at a time, "We are watching you."
Aviary or aquarium?
Aquarium.
Aquarium.
Because they were the Navy, right?
I got to write this down. There's an episode.
Hecklefish.
There's an episode to be made there.
Hecklefish will have things to say about that.
Yes, you will. The aquarium.
All right. Now, over the years, I've told that to people who are in the UFO, UAP.
Well, hold on. Keep us in the room.
Yeah.
You say no.
Yeah.
You say, I'm not interested.
No, we did not say we're not interested.
Believe all of it or none of it. What matters next is the one specific thing they pushed him on. They wanted to know why his show had nothing set underwater. And when Zabel asked the obvious question, why naval intelligence would be chasing things in the sky, the answer was that a lot of them are seen in the water, and that he would need to start telling those stories.
Because
they did actually.
They have some good stuff.
No, actually, they did have one. Here's a specific example, which is what got me into the confrontation with him in the first place. He said, "Well, are you doing any shows? We haven't seen anything where you're doing shows that take place in the water." Because I think I had asked him the question that started that. I said, if you're the Navy, why are you investigating UFOs, which are generally in the air. What do you have to do with it? And obviously, well, a lot of them are seen in the water. And that's when he brought up, so are you doing stories about that? Because you're going to need to. Now,
we didn't really know about that back then.
I mean, not a lot, not like we do today.
Right.
Now, hold that against the leak. The single strangest, easiest to mock claim in that whole post was that the craft are assembled underwater in the Atlantic. It's the part a skeptic points at first. And here is a public figure describing intelligence officers steering him towards that exact idea, the water, in the mid-90s. This is where I want to be careful because it's easy to overreach. The argument isn't that Zabel is too old or too respectable to have seen a 4chan post. People of every age use the internet, and that's a weak claim. The real argument is the timing. His story is set in 1996. The post appeared around 2023. Whatever you believe about either account, one did not crib from the other. They reach the same detail from opposite ends of 3 decades. There's a looser second echo, and I flag it looser on purpose. When the conversation turns to what disclosure would do to the world, Zabel lands on the energy question. These things are not flying around on gasoline.
What about all these history books of the last 80 years? Are we going to rewrite all those? What about energy? These things are not flying around on gasoline.
Nope.
Right? So just pick anything in the world. What about culture?
Hold that against the leaker, who named a specific exotic power source. Element 115. Exotic propulsion is a common talking point in the world. So on its own, it proves nothing. I include it because it points to the same second pillar of the leak, not because it's a smoking gun. As always, I try to give honest counterweight. Zabel has spent decades inside the community. A shared detail could just be the same ideas circling around the same people, not 2 independent hits on a secret. And his whole account is exactly that, an account. There's no document behind it, only his word. Both of those are real objections, and I'm not going to pretend them away. I'm not telling you this proves the leak. It doesn't. What it does is take the cheapest objection to that post, that it's just an anonymous noise, and make it harder to hold. A man in the public eye with a career to protect described the same underwater detail from his own life decades before the post was written. Maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe it's 2 people brushing up against the same secret from opposite ends of a very long hallway. One last thing. It's why this video was built in the way it is. In the same interview, Zabel argues that the people who care about this should stop copyrighting the evidence and locking it away. Put the whole story out, context and all, and let everyone help work out what it is.
But I don't even care about that. I think to a certain amount, when I see people that take a picture of something and then they put copyright in the corner. Listen, if we're trying for transparency and to prove that the UFO UAP issue is honest and needs to be taken seriously as an anomaly, I'm not interested in copyrighting everybody's little UFO photo. I think you should give they should have the narrative of how that photo or video came to be, but they should release it to the world. You're not trying to hold on to it to make money off it. You're trying to help us reach a decision.
The case for taking this seriously falls apart the second someone hides the proof. If you haven't seen the original breakdown of the leak, it's linked below. And these claims land harder when watched against it. Where it goes from here, who knows?